In this video, I'm going to ask you a couple dozen questions you should ask yourself to see how prepared you are for World War III. Number one, do you have enough food storage to provide for your family for a few months, but also for some neighbors who are needy? Number two, do you have water stored up in case the water pumps stop working and we don't have water pressure? Do you have water for drinking? Do you have water for washing your hands and flushing the toilet? Number three, do you have emergency cash on hand that you can use to buy things and pay bills if the ATM stops working or if the internet goes down? Number four, do you have the means to protect your family from violence? Do you have some form of firearm, for example? Five, do you have enough fuel and a way to heat your home if you don't have access to propane or natural gas or electricity? Do you have a wood-burning stove you could use as backup with some lumber? Six, do you have a bug-out or emergency bag that you can, leave at a moment's notice? You can take and leave your home if you need to in an emergency and survive for a couple days in the wild. Seven, do you have a way to filter and drink water? For example, I love Life straws. You can get them for like $10 on Amazon, and then be able to drink from like streams and ponds and things like that. Do you have any way to filter water to drink? Number eight, have you practiced emergency skills with your family? For example, going hiking, camping out, practicing first aid. Number nine, have you paid off all of your debts? Are you living within your financial means? Number 10, do you have food producing plants that produce every year? For example, do you have any fruit trees or grapevines, berry bushes, nut trees, strawberry plants, rhubarb, asparagus? Do you have any of that on your property if you have some land? 11, do you have vegetable and fruit seeds in storage so you can plant your own food if you need to? Number 12, do you have garden supplies like gardening gloves, shovels, rakes, hose, etc. to be able to do a garden if you need to? Number 13, do you have experience gardening? If you don't, you might consider gardening this next garden season. It's very rewarding, very fun, very healthy. Number 14, if your home becomes unsafe to stay in for whatever reason, if there's lawlessness after an EMP or something like that, do you have a bug out location in mind of where you might go if you need to flee your home, say if you live in a big city? Number 15, how fit are you and your family? Can you become more fit and healthy and strong? I thought it was interesting while watching an interview with someone, I think they were from Syria, a young man who fled Syria as a refugee, who's in Europe now, I believe. And he said that one of the best things you could do to prepare for a crisis and for war is to become fit. And I thought that was just kind of interesting, but it makes it a lot easier to transport yourself and your belongings if you're healthy and fit. 16, do you have a year's supply, if possible, of medication that you or family members use? 17, do you have a couple pairs of good working shoes or boots? I love these leather Ariat boots I got. They're kind of pricey. I think they cost like $80 or $100, but man, they feel like they're gonna last for like ever. And they're super duper useful, and they last a lot longer than just, a pair of $20 sneakers from Walmart. I personally feel like if there was World War III, it would be very, very helpful to have everyone in your family have a really good pair or two of shoes. Life would be very hard without shoes to wear. And if you're doing lots of hiking or lots of work outside, you're going to want to have a good pair of shoes to keep yourself safe. Number 18, if you had no electricity and you could not air condition your house, would your house be cool enough to sleep in, to stay in? Some ideas of how you could cool down your house: you could paint your roof white, you could blow in attic insulation. You might consider having kind of an earthen home, basement home setup where the ground around you insulates your home so it doesn't get too hot or too cold. Number 19, do you have hens? I think one of the best ways you can prepare for hard times is to have a bunch of hens that lay eggs every day. We have a couple dozen hens right now, and they produce about a dozen eggs a day, and I absolutely love it. I can't imagine going back to not having hens now that I've had it. It just makes you feel so much more self-reliant to have such a wonderful source of protein and calories and nutrients and vitamins. Number 20, do you know your neighbors in your community? Have you talked to them? Do you know them by name? Have you went to any community events and found out if there's any community emergency plans of where to meet or anything of that nature? Number 21, do you and your loved ones know self-defense? enrolled in a wrestling class or a karate class. Things like that could be super useful in the event of things becoming dangerous where you live. Number 22, do you have a few months supply of toilet paper and toiletries? If toilet paper and toiletries don't go bad anytime soon, there's no reason you shouldn't stock up when there's a good sale. And then when times do go bad, you have a bunch of storage and you don't have to order it when everyone else is trying to buy it. Number 23, if you have children, do you have a bunch of diapers and wipes? Or if you don't have a bunch of diapers, do you have a few cloth diapers that you could reuse? Number 24, have you set up two-factor authentication on your online bank account, on your social accounts, on your Google account? I think two-factor authentication is probably one of the best things you can do to prevent yourself from, financial fraud and from losing a bunch of money from scammers. Number 25, now this is something you might not need to do per se, but I think it's probably a good thing to consider. How private is your information online? Do you have much privacy? Could you be added to an index or a database by, say, a bad organization that wants to control people? Have you delisted your data from these listing websites that list your name, your number, your address? You can totally do that. I've done that before. Have you deleted any personal, identifying information that might be on your social media accounts? I feel like social media is a wonderful blessing, but I feel like privacy can also increase your sense of personal security for you and your family. And I feel like it's something that could be sorely abused if, you live in a government with a bad regime, or if your country were invaded by an oppressive regime. 26, do you have a clothesline set up? So if you don't have electricity, you have a way to dry your clothes. And 27, do you have a bunch of, plastic bags and gloves to dispose of trash and personal waste if you need to, if there's not the trash service? You can buy a massive box of a bunch of gloves and a bunch of just like plastic grocery bags for really cheap online. And I feel like handling waste is a really important thing to keep your hygiene good and to prevent disease. So how prepared are you? What other questions should we ask ourselves to know if we are prepared for what might come in the future? Go ahead and comment below. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you know of someone who might benefit by asking themselves these preparedness questions, go ahead and share this video with them. If you want more preparedness videos, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.